Eagles superstar wide receiver A.J. Brown said that if the Eagles do not extend Jalen Hurts, he wants to be traded ASAP. Well, kind of. That Jalen Hurts' contract extension could be coming in the next couple of days. Also, CJ Garder-Johnson, he's either going to be franchise tagged or extended by the Eagles. They're not going to let him go. Brian Dawkins rips Jonathan Gannnon, what's new? And finally, Daniel Jones wants to stay with the Giants for a cool $45 million. I'm Thomas Mott. This is The Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Tuesday. This might be the craziest or really busiest show I've had so far this offseason for both the NFL and Philadelphia. A lot is going on. We're going to sift through it all. Let's jump in with the A.J. Brown, let's just call it interview, I guess. He was on a podcast, I think the Raw Room podcast, and was asked about the Jalen Hurts contract extension, which we've talked about a lot here on the show. And he basically is making a joke, but he's also kind of serious about the fact that, hey, if you don't extend Jalen Hurts, I want out of here because these two are tied at the hip and they want to play together for many, many years to come. Listen to what what A.J. Brown had to say. This is some pretty good stuff.
Listen, I love Philly. And what I'm about to say. You do not pay this man. Just ship me off wherever he finna go.
It's over. Wherever he finna go,
I'm telling you.
package deal me.
Listen, so you talk about pressure? How we get it done.
I love it. How we get it done. Now, he's joking here. Now, there are a lot of headlines that you're going to see on Twitter saying, A.J. Brown wants out if they don't extend Jalen Hurts. Oh, no. What it really is A.J. Brown going, guys, extend Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. I want to play with Jalen Hurts. If, for whatever reason, Philadelphia decided not to, then he would want out. But we know the Eagles are going to extend Jalen Hurts. What you should really take away from this is the bond that you have between quarterback and wide receiver. Remember McNabb and Terrell Owens, how you had a superstar quarterback, or at least a star quarterback, come on for all McNabb haters out there, and a superstar receiver paired? The problem was they hated each other. They never got along. It worked 1 year. Very rarely do you have a superstar receiver and a potential superstar quarterback bond together with zero drama. You have that with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And it's just another reason why the Eagles are going to back the Brinks truck up for Hurts, regardless of what the Hurts haters out there, and I see you guys commenting, think about Jalen's ability to play. I think you give him whatever he wants, $45 million, $46 million, try and be team-friendly, but it's going to cost a lot of money. Thumbs up for A.J. Brown, though, defending his quarterback and the bond and love that they share. Now, speaking of the whole Jalen Hurts situation in terms of a contract extension, this is from Bleeding Green Nation. Veteran NFL reporter Ben Violin recently had the following to say about the Hurts extension. This ties in. Quote, Hurts and the Eagles declined to talk about a contract extension following the Super Bowl loss, but don't be surprised if he has a new deal before the Combine starts in a week and a half. Prior to the Super Bowl, the Eagles had already approached veterans about redoing deals to make space for Hurts. That's really good news. They go on to say, of course, the Combine starts in nearly a week's time. It's Tuesday, February 28th. The NFL Combine's a week from today. Isn't that crazy? Having an agreement figured out by then would give the Eagles more time to map out their free agent approach before the NFL's negotiating window opens on March 13th. The new year then officially begins 4 p.m. Eastern on March 15th. So this is really good news. If you were a very good franchise, a high-functioning franchise, what you would do is you would get the Jalen Hurts deal done first, because you know you got to pay him money, and you know that paying him and extending that over 4 or 5 years creates more cap space for this year. You would get that done first, then you would work on the rest of your free agents. You're going to see a domino effect. Hurts first, then you're going to see CJ Garder-Johnson, which we will talk about, then you're going to see the rest of the internal guys they want to keep, then you're going to see them go out and bring guys in free agency. That's the ladder that good franchises are actually going to do, and is what Howie Roseman and the Eagles are seemingly officially trying to do, according to both of these reports. This is really good news. You should thumbs up for this good news, because I think it is absolutely fantastic. Also, before we go ahead and jump into the next story here, I do want to thank you guys for helping me get very close to 9,000 subs on the Thomas Mott Show. It's crazy that 9,000 of you guys want to subscribe. We're almost there. It's like 40 subs away. So if you guys want to go ahead, hit the red subscribe button. A lot of people watch this show aren't subscribers. So if you like the show, I would really appreciate that. But really, the fact we're even close to 9,000, thumbs up, huge for that. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's move over here to the CJ Garder-Johnson situation, which again is good news for Eagle fans. I told you, CJ Garder-Johnson is priority number 1 behind Jalen Hurts, and that seems to be the report here from Bleeding Green Nation. Now, you see the headline: Eagles expect to use franchise tag on CJ Garder-Johnson if they can't get a deal done. However, if you actually read what Adam Caplan had to say, it does seem like they're going to go ahead and extend him. Quote, with free agency looming, the Eagles have their hands full. In addition to Jalen Hurts, they will look to re-sign who they will look to re-sign. They've got a long list of guys they might lose via free agency, including CJ Garder-Johnson. Turns out the Eagles might not be willing to let CJ Garder-Johnson even touch the free agency market. A reporter used the franchise tag to keep him, according to NFL insider Adam Caplan. You see the tweet here. It's CJ Garder-Johnson is not going anywhere. The Eagles will franchise tag him if they can't get a deal done on time, per Caplan, NFL, and Eagles or inside birds, end quote. Now, the franchise tag window officially opened today. They're going to get a deal done. Howie Roseman doesn't do franchise tags. He's done them in the past, yes, but it's not a yearly thing. Bad football teams do franchise tags every year because they can't negotiate proper contracts with good players, and I think Philadelphia has avoided that in the past because they end up paying their players. What you're going to continue to see over the next couple of days is either a Hurts extension first or a couple of restructuring of some veteran guys. You think, Lane Johnson will get a restructuring. You think about potentially seeing, who was the other guy that I was going to mention? Darius Slay getting a restructuring, and then they will use that money to sign Hurts and then sign CJ Garder-Johnson. But we all said that Gardner-Johnson was internal free agent priority number one, and Philadelphia's made him that they're not going to let him go. He was an absolute stud last year and only got better. Let's move over here to, how about Brian Dawkins on the brand new midday show with Joe Gigolo and Dawkins' ex-teammate Hugh Douglas on 94.1 WIP. First off, congrats to Hugh Douglas. I've hosted shows with Hugh before here in Atlanta on 92.9 The Game. Really great guy, and it was really cool to be, the co-host of an Eagle player I grew up cheering for. I mean, I was a huge Hugh Douglas fan as a kid, and there he was sitting next to me hosting 4-hour shows. He's now in Philadelphia. Massive congrats to him. He had BDawk on yesterday, and they asked him about Jonathan Gannnon, and BDawk didn't hold back. Listen to Weapon X here. Quote, "As for me, playing under this defensive coordinator, me personally, I would have hated it because none of these things that I was blessed to do blitzing would have been added to this defense under Gannon. He took advantage of the personnel the front office gave him, got a lot of dudes that can win one-on-one battles, so he put those guys in positions that have that success throughout the year. The only thing that I kept saying all year is that when your fastball is not working, you have to have a changeup. You have to be used to throwing that changeup. For us, when we were playing, we're going to blitz, we're going to disguise, we're going to move around. For a team that does not blitz, when you ask them to blitz, it's a foreign subject for them. People were getting on me. Well, they're getting sacks. Well, I love sacks. Continue to get the sacks, but also mix in the blitz so that those guys know what to do when plan A is not working, when you have to go to plan B. Plan B happens to be this past Sunday because you weren't winning your one-on-one battles. Why? Because the field was jacked up. That was a sloppy field. So you have to do other things. And Gannon did not do a good job adjusting to that, to getting away from his fastball, going to changeups or decent blitz packages. Amen. End quote. Amen. I mean, that perfectly sums up how we all feel about Jonathan Gannnon. His stuff works, but when it doesn't work, what are you going to do? And the problem is for Jonathan Gannnon, when it didn't work, he had no changeup. He just had the fastball. And there you see, some quarterbacks did a pretty good job against his fastball, and the Eagles defense got shredded. Think Tom Brady in the wild card game 2 years ago. Think Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl just a couple of days ago, a week and a day, or a week and 2 days ago. Amen. Retweet. And that's why Philadelphia is looking far and wide for a new defensive coordinator who I think will have both a fastball and a changeup, leading us into another. I told you, today's a packed day. Another story here. Bleeding Green Nation. The Eagles have interviewed former Wisconsin D coordinator Jim Leonhard. This comes via Jeremy Fowler. Quote, "The Eagles have interviewed former Wisconsin defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard as they look to fill their DC job, per league source. Leonhard was a 10-year NFL safety who was respected in league circles, and he did a very good job with Wisconsin's defense. He always had them, top 5 in total defense, top 10 in scoring defense 4 times, 17.3 yards per game. The Badgers were always known for defense, not for offense, and so Philadelphia is scanning everywhere. Now they're looking elsewhere. It's not just him. They are interviewing Vance Joseph this week. I thought it would be today, but it's actually going to be Wednesday, Thursday, based on a new report. There's no saying who it's going to be. I have no clue who the DC is going to be, but I would bet in those interviews, the question is, okay, what's your fastball? And then talk to us about your changeup. How are you going to have both of those? Maybe do you have a splitter as well? Maybe a curveball, maybe a sinker. Tell us you are more than one-dimensional because we were too one-dimensional with Jonathan Gannnon. We need to change things up. This is very good news that they are looking, and obviously when they make a move, which they will at some point, we will obviously have a show on that one. Okay, NFL National Story of the Day. Always try to go ahead and give you guys other stories besides the Philadelphia Eagles because we'll talk about everything here in the Thomas Mott Show. This comes from Jordan Rannon, ESPN staff writer. The whole Daniel Jones saga happening right now in the Giants does technically matter for the Eagles, but it's fascinating from just an NFL standpoint. He is not only switching agents, but he's wanting $45 million. And you see here from Jordan, quote, "New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones is in the process of making an agent change with a new contract and free agency on the horizon, multiple sources have said. The Giants will use franchise tag on their quarterback if they are unable to get a long-term deal done before March 7th, the deadline to use the tag. The non-exclusive tag for a quarterback is $32.4 million, but that would limit the team's ability to spend this offseason to gain weapons Jones and the Giants lack back in 2022. The expectation prior to the agent switch was that a long-term deal with Jones would come in at more than $35 million per year, according to sources. That would currently put him inside the top 10 paid players at the position, end quote. Now, there's a new report saying he wants $45 million, which is a little bit too much. But you see the situation the Giants are currently in. This is a rough spot to be. Now, the Eagles have a superstar quarterback in Jalen Hurts, so you pay him a lot of money. But do you have a superstar quarterback in Daniel Jones? Most of us would say no. Now, Danny Dimes played well this year, but he only threw 15 touchdowns. That's it. Only 15. Now, he, again, dramatically improved. Maybe year 2 in Brian Dable's system with some real wide receivers. The sky's the limit. But you have this situation where you're either going to tag him and pay him $32 million, but that, of course, all comes out of your cap space for 2023 because it's a one-year deal, or you extend him for 35 plus and you pay him more. You're tied to him for more years, but you also don't pay as much in terms of what you pay in 2023. So you have, money to spend in free agency. So what the Giants are going to do, I think they're going to probably end up extending him because right now the Giants have a, high first-round draft pick. You'd have to trade the sun, moon, and stars to even get close to the top 10. And Danny Dimes, again, has proven to be able to win games. Can he win you the Super Bowl? Remains to be seen. But like I said, give him some weapons and, the rest is history. We'll find out in the future. So, again, the one thing you got to realize about the NFC East, it's very good, and it will be very good in 2023, but only one team has full competence right now. Only one team actually has figured it out, and that's Philadelphia. The Cowboys have a bunch of issues stemming from their ownership, but do they believe in Dak Prescott? Can they keep Tony Pollard? Who knows? Then you have the Giants, who don't like their quarterback. I would argue that they don't like their quarterback, but they don't have any other options, so they're going to be stuck with Daniel Jones. Then you have the Washington Commanders, who are a top-down dumpster fire of a franchise, who are going with Eric Bieniemy, but really, is Sam Howell going to win you 10-plus games, what it will probably take to win the NFC East? I don't think so. So a lot of dysfunction in the East, despite very, very talented rosters. Philadelphia, I would think, should be the early favorite to come back out and win the East for the first time back-to-back years since the Eagles did in 03-04 going into the 2023 season. So I'm telling you, the offseason, it's very fun. Now, it's not as fun as the regular season because we don't have games to talk about, but stuff goes on every single day of the week, and so make sure you guys are tuned in. Plenty more shows. I think we're doing a live show tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Going to have a special guest on for that one, so stay tuned for that. I appreciate you guys. Always fun. Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show.